And we're back. I remembered to unmute my microphone. It's kind of a funny thing when I do the the like starting soon loop with the music in the background. If I add myself to the stage and I'm in the background and my microphone is not muted, you can hear anything that might be going on, and I can try to be as quiet as I want, but you never know. But then usually once you start a video or play any kind of a video, it will automatically mute your microphone. But if you mute it manually before doing that, it doesn't unmute it for you. StreamYard problems. I feel like I'm hearing mischievous sounds from the dog. And we're only like a minute in. Anyways, happy Monday, everybody. What is going on? We got Lady Marine in the chat. Good evening to you. Yeah, let's see what is going on in the world today. So I did over the weekend go and see Deftones. I almost said the Deftones, but I've actually had conversations with friends of mine that are big, longtime Deftones fans, and I was like, I've been listening to these guys for decades. Finally, one day, I was just like, "Hey, is it Deftones or is it the Deftones?" And all of a sudden, I'm like looking up all their album covers, all the artwork, all the everything. It's just Deftones, just one word. There's no the. But for some reason, every once in a while, when I'm talking about them, I have the strange urge to say the Deftones, but that is incorrect. So they host an annual festival right here in San Diego, California, called Dia de los Deftones. That is usually the last weekend of October, somewhere around or near the closest Saturday they can get to Day of the Dead. And I went to the very first one in 2018. I've been a huge fan of these guys forever. But this festival that they do every year, so I mean, they're going to come to San Diego every single year at the end of October. And I commend them for wanting to highlight bands and artists and acts that are maybe not as well known, that are kind of up and coming. But the unfortunate part about it is that every year this show is around $80 per ticket. And if I haven't heard of a single other band on the bill, it's kind of hard to throw down that money, you know, as much as I love Deftones. So finally, I was like, I went to the very first one in 2018. Haven't seen them live since 2018. They're obviously going to come here every single year. This is the only show they're going to do in San Diego every year now. They're going to play at Petco Park, the ball field where the San Diego Padres play. And so they're probably never going to do a small show in San Diego again, because now they have this festival of their own that they do. And so I went, and it was fun. I had a good time, but I was a little bummed out that they played a ton of songs from their brand new album that just came out. Not that the new album is bad, and I understand that's how it works with bands when they play shows. Actually, I just remembered too. I tried this last week and it kind of worked. Let me see if I can get some lo-fi beats in the background, so you guys aren't just listening to me the entire time. Because also, let me hide this again for a second. They are not quite as obvious as I had hoped. But last week, I forgot to point these out. I added these fancy little LED lights in my shelf back there because I thought that might make the background a little bit more interesting than just staring at me in front of my bookshelf full of random nerd stuff. But yeah, I mean, like looking at them, and when you're in the room with them, they're LED and they look pretty bright. Got a remote here where I can control all the different features and stuff. The way that they're spread out in the shelves, it's hard to get all four of them at once. So since they're going and they're in sync, I'm not going to mess with them. But nice little addition back there. But let's see if we can get some lo-fi beats going here in the background, make it a little more interesting to listen to me. Let's see what. Well, I was playing the spooky lo-fi last week, but Halloween is over. We're now in that weird limbo where there's no Thanksgiving music. There's like maybe one or two Thanksgiving movies. One of my favorites, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Great movie that I'll be watching here pretty soon. Let's see. License free lo-fi. Couldn't find. Oh, not in my library. Like search. Come on, Spotify, work with me here. License free lo-fi. Let's try this one. Actually, no, I want like a playlist, not just an album. How long is this? Oh yeah, that's plenty of music. I'm gonna try and add this in the background. It seemed to work out pretty good last week, so let me know. Screen two, share audio. All right. Oh, I'm all about it. I'm ready to put my tree up, but hopefully that's at least slightly audible. I always want to make sure it's kind of in the background, but lo-fi fruits. What was I talking about? Deftones. Yeah, so it was a good show. I had fun. Um, I like the new album, but I will say the two most recent Deftones albums. They're one from I think they put out in 2020 or 2021 called Ohms, and now this newest one, Private Music. They're good, but it just kind of feels like one long song where nothing ever repeats. Like there's never really like a chorus or a hook or something that you can kind of latch onto and sing along to. So it's kind of a weird thing to where it's like you can listen to the album and be like, oh, this is a good album, I like it, but there's not anything super memorable about it. So when they played the songs live, I kind of recognized some of the opening riffs of like, oh, it's one of the new songs, but then like I don't know any of the lyrics, I don't know, whatever. So they started out with a brand new one, played another brand new one, played another brand new one, did a couple of old favorites from Around the Fur, did one from kind of some of the mid to later albums. Genesis was from Ohms, I think. Entombed, Hole in the Earth, great song. Streetcar was from White Pony, which I think they said it's the first time they've played that since 2019. Of course, Changing the House of Flies, they got to play that one. Another brand new one, another brand new one, another brand new one, another brand new one, and another brand new one, and then two songs off of their debut album, Adrenaline. So it's a good show, but I will say, like, I don't regret spending the money and I don't regret going, but there was kind of that little bit of like, man, I was really hoping to hear some more of their back catalog, like stuff from the first three albums and not some, but I get it. A band puts out a new album, they got to push the new album, they got to promote it. But really, I think in this day and age of streaming, and I hate to say it because I am usually very much that type of person that if I'm going to pay money to go see a band live and they've just put out a new album, I'm usually super pumped on the new album. I learn all the new songs, go to the show ready to hear the new songs. But I don't know, there's just certain bands when I go to the show, I'm just kind of like, just play the old stuff, man. Play the good, play the oldies but goodies, oldies but goldies, whatever. So that was that, but I should have known better. They just put out a new album like a month or so ago. They got to promote the new album. It is what it is, Let's see here. What's this one? Got a couple random articles pulled up. Games can predict redistrict Batman. So this is something that's happening tomorrow that I'm a little worried about. The California redistricting bill. We all got our mail-in ballots for, so they don't have to actually make you prove that you are a citizen or that you should be here or that you live here. They just you have an address, here's a ballot, lob your vote. I'm a little worried about how this is going to play out. And I know they're talking, Texas did this and North Carolina did that. I'm like, well, I don't live in those states. I can't vote in those states. So I can complain on the internet about Texas and whatever else and all I want. But I can vote in California. So I get to complain about what's happening in California. Um, yeah. So the election is tomorrow. I've already dropped off my ballot. California Governor Gavin Newsom says the rules of the game have changed and is predicting the redistricting ballot measure to pass. I'm going to kind of skim through the article here a little bit, but just my immediate commentary on this, my immediate thoughts, is basically what he is trying to do is erase all of the less populous rural areas of California. Because you might not know this. California is actually really beautiful if you get outside of the cities. Obviously, San Diego is a very large, populous area. Los Angeles, San Francisco, areas like that. But you go either kind of a little more inland, a little bit more north. There's lots of open farmland, lots of mountain, scenery and things of that sort. Like California is a really beautiful state, but Newsom is hell bent on destroying it. Like first he took over San Francisco and ruined that. Then he took over California and ruined that. Next he wants to become president and completely ruin America. So hey, cheers to you, Gavin. But right now he's starting with his whole thing. Oh, Texas is gerrymandering. That's wrong. Hold my beer. We're gonna do it too. I'm like, wait, what? Like. So yeah, he's trying, and we already have, but as far as the Electoral College, California already has the most votes, or whatever you want to call it, however you want to say it, just based on our population, more than Texas, more than Florida. Like apparently California is one of, if not the most populous state. So we already have the most delegates. I think that's the word I was looking for. We already have the most delegates in the Electoral College out of any state in the entire country, and California is already blue. So if this redistricting measure passes, then we're really cooked. We're already screwed anyways, because most of the people in California are retarded and continue to vote blue, even though their policies are, it's hard not to say something when I see people who I know in my personal life, who I've met in person and spoke with them face to face and everything. And I see one, I know they're liberal. So I know that they voted for Mayor Todd Gloria. I know that they voted for Governor Gavin Newsom. I know that they voted for Biden. I know that they voted for Kamala Harris. But then when I see them directly complaining about things that the politicians that they voted for that are doing within our own city, like the mayor of San Diego is doing all sorts of dumb shit right now. Well, he's always been doing dumb shit. I don't know how he got reelected, but it's whatever. And it's seeing people that they're like, oh, this is how you get people to not vote for you again. It's like, well, guess what, genius? The mayor's already on his second term, so he doesn't care about you anymore. The only thing he cares about now is maybe trying to become governor, but he can't run for mayor again. So you tagging him in your Instagram posts and stuff, he doesn't care. In a wide-ranging interview with NBC News, California governor slammed the GOP-controlled Congress and the Supreme Court for bowing to Trump. California Governor Gavin Newsom on Thursday said he's deeply confident that California voters this week will approve the state's Prop 50 ballot measure, which would allow the state to redraw congressional maps on a partisan basis ahead of next year's midterm election. Now, honestly, a lot of what I've been seeing and reading about this is that actually Republicans and Democrats both think that this is a bad idea, because it's probably mentioned in here somewhere, but the way that it is set up right now puts more power in the hands of the people, Republican and Democrat. And as I said before, every election, you look at the map, California is blue. There's no question. It's going to be blue on the election map every time. But it's about the congressional seats and the delegates and all that nonsense and stuff. But a lot of people are like, no, like this actually takes power away from people, and it's basically just rigging future elections, which, both sides accuses the other side of doing it, and it's like, in a wide-ranging interview, the California governor slammed the president's push for mid-decade redistricting efforts in Republican states across the country, accusing the president of rigging next year's congressional election and warning that Trump is not screwing around. So then again, he's like, oh, what the president is doing is wrong, so hold my beer, I'm going to do it too. Like, if you think what he's doing is wrong, then maybe it should be called out and you try to, whatever. But instead, he's like, oh, well, fine, we'll do it too. Like, yeah, that makes sense. That totally makes sense. Here, he's changing the rules. He's rigging the game. This is exactly what Newsom is trying to do in California. He's changing the rules and he's rigging the game because he knows he'll lose if all things are equal. You know what? Hold on just 1 second. Let me go ahead and pull up the map from the last presidential election. Map 2024. Let's just see here. Let's see what I can find. Can we make this full screen? Come on. Almost there. There we go. So Newsom says Trump knows that he will lose. We're going to talk about this too. First of all, Trump is done. This is his second term. He can't run again. He has publicly and verbally acknowledged that he knows he can't run again. We all know Trump can't run again, but everyone's still out there at their No Kings protests and hey, everybody, we did it. He can't run again. It's like, we all know he can't run again. He knows he can't run again. But this was the map in 2024, but Newsom still thinks that, Trump, he knows he's going to lose if he doesn't, whatever. Did I lose all my tabs? No. Okay. Where are we? I really thought I lost all my tabs there for a second. I think I opened an extra window on accident, but I'm not going to mess with any of that because I'll probably wind up closing something else. Anyways, he knows he'll lose if all things are equal. A Democrat accusing another politician of lying or cheating. Weird.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man. Your opinion, man.
He did not expect California to fight fire with fire. I love too how for all these years, everyone's been accusing, always pointing out how, Trump and his mean tweets and everything and stuff, but how over the last couple months, Newsom has been trying to act like Trump, and it's not even subtle. It's really obvious that he's trying to basically be like Trump on Twitter and try to be all Mr. Tough Guy and everything. It's like, no, just stop it. The California governor also spoke about his tactics in pushing back against Trump on social media. There it is, telling Welker that he believes he is holding a mirror up to that madness. No, you just look like a desperate fool. You're just trying to be Mr. Tough Guy. Trump does it. That's who he is. That's the way he is. And yeah, he's kind of unhinged and kind of out there and stuff, but that's just who he is. He's not faking it. That's just him. Asked if there was still room for Democrats to consider former First Lady Michelle Obama's "when they go low, we go high" philosophy. Newsom said, I would love to go back to that, but politics has changed. The world has changed. The rules of the game have changed. Democrats always go low. Both politicians, all of them, they always aim low. They always take low votes, but especially the Democrats. Dead people voting, illegal immigrants voting. Ring a bell? Anyone? He continued on saying, we want to go back to some semblance of normalcy, but you have to deal with the crisis at hand. I love that. Oh, it's a crisis because people voted. They say, oh, he's a threat to democracy. We need to vote in a president. And the people voted the president in, and they're like, oh, not like that. Well, the people voted. At least the Republican Party chose their candidate. Womp womp. You have to deal with the crisis at hand. The governor said it has been just 10 to 11 months of this presidency. We have 3 more years time to batten down the hatches, and it's time for us to change if we want things to change. And that's why our communication strategy has shifted. That's why Prop 50 has shifted the conversation here in California, and I think will shift the debate going into 2026 as a consequence of our success. He's so arrogant. And I think we as a party have become more unified and I think more aligned on what's at stake. I disagree. I think the Democratic Party is so divided. When you have lifelong dyed-in-the-wool liberal Democrats like Bill Maher calling out the Democratic Party and the extreme left and telling the Democrats that they have lost their minds No, the Democratic Party is very not unified, very divided, which is actually probably going to play into the favor of those of us who actually want real change. Like he talked about, things need to change. Like, well, guess what? The Democrats have been in charge of California and the big major cities of California for a very long time, and things are not getting better. I know because I live here. Prop 50 push. Newsom has championed the ballot measure known as Prop 50 in response to a mid-decade redistricting in Texas, where the GOP-controlled legislature redrew congressional districts to favor Republicans. That move in Texas could lead to a net gain of 5 seats for House Republicans next year and has kicked off a wave of redistricting efforts in states including California, Indiana, Maryland, North Carolina, Virginia, Ohio, and Louisiana, where state lawmakers have either floated the idea or taken concrete steps to draw new maps ahead of next year's elections. Well, of course they do, because they're so in touch with the everyday modern citizen. So there was a snippet or like a blip in there, I think, or maybe I was just rambling when I was talking about it. A couple days ago, sometime last week, I think it was like Wednesday or Thursday. I kind of get these different little like news blips on my phone of like headlines and things. If something seems interesting, I click on it, I take a look and stuff. And I think for 2 days straight, I cannot tell you how many news alerts or how many things I had pop up talking about, Trump says that he wants to seek a third term, but says it's a shame that he can't. Oh, Gavin Newsom is accusing Trump of trying to seek a third presidential term and all this stuff. And I'm just like, it hurts me. It really hurts me sometimes how dumb people really are. One, the president doesn't have the power to change that on his own. So, if he were a king, then yeah, he could just do away with term limits and say, screw you, I'm not leaving. That's not what he's doing. Trump has said himself, and again, he is the master troller, right? Like, Trump tweets something or he says something, and immediately it's like, that's the headline. Oh, Trump said this thing. Look, oh, he's bad. And it's like, he is trolling you, people. He is so, like, the fact that people don't know that he's trolling them is amazing. I love, like, don't get me wrong, like, I'm not like the diehard cultish MAGA whatever stuff about him, but it's like, love him or hate him, voted for him or didn't vote for him, my absolute favorite thing about the Trump presidency is how much he lives rent-free right up here in so many people's heads. I love that it's just like, just him existing makes people so angry. And he has probably done little to nothing to affect their day-to-day lives. Maybe people who collect SNAP benefits, and we're going to talk about that as well. But for the most part, I've largely been a believer for most of my life that my day-to-day life and my ability to get up, go to work, live my life, do what I do is affected very little by who's in the White House. I do think that has shifted and has changed drastically in recent years. But for the most part, overall, he's not stopping me from being able to go live my life. He's not stopping me from being able to go to my job and pay my bills, because I actually have a job and I pay my own bills because I don't rely on the government to do it for me. Kind of funny that all the people who are pro-socialism are now upset that the government took away their free food and their free benefits. Weird. So you mean to tell me that if we really truly went for a socialist model, that the government would have the power to either feed you or starve you? That is it's an interesting thought. What's the one? I'm probably going to totally botch this, and I could just look it up because, I'm sitting in front of two monitors. But I think the quote that's something along the lines of like, the government's very good at breaking your legs and then handing you a crutch and saying, see, if it weren't for the government, you wouldn't be able to walk. It's like, okay. Or the cliche, teach a man to fish, versus give a man a fish type of thing. It's like you teach a man to fish, he learns how to fish and catch food and provide for himself and possibly his family. You know, okay, it's a metaphor. You're not going to provide for a whole family with one fish, but whatever. But if you just give the man a fish, then it's like, oh, well, cool. Like I got this one fish today, but then what am I going to eat tomorrow? Because he doesn't know how to catch his own fish. Like you need to learn self-reliance. Like, oh, you know, the people are losing their benefits and they need it. And it's like, no, it's like, I believe there's a time where certain benefits, you know, welfare, SNAP, food stamps, whatever, certain things were put in place because, yes, if you really, really came down on hard times and you had a family and, you know, whatever, and there was assistance for a time to help you get back on your own feet and eventually provide for yourself and your family again, that was not necessarily a bad thing. But like all things, people will figure out how to abuse it. People find loopholes. People figure out all the ways to maximize maximize their, you know, benefits and whatever. And then you have people that are literally just like, oh, like I don't need to work. I get free money. I get food stamps. I get SNAP. I get, you know, and then they just go and buy a bunch of junk food. So then they're all fat and unhealthy. I should have saved it. I saw this clip earlier today as Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew. It's like, man, like they got, I don't know if they ever stopped like doing shows together. I remember back in the day when they did Loveline together, but like, man, they got the old band back together. It was Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew. And he's like the average weight, you know, of a person who, you know, works and pays for their own food and stuff is like 146 pounds, and like the average weight of SNAP benefit recipients is like 211 pounds. So it's like there's a problem right there. Like people that are actually buying their own food are like, oh, I'm gonna be sensible and take care of myself and stuff, and then people that get in the food stamps and stuff are just eating junk food. So I've already gotten off on a tangent there, but yeah, let's talk about Trump. I always like just kind of pulling up the Google screen before I actually even like commit to an article, because it's just so funny. It's so hilarious how unhinged these people are and how just the dumb shit that people believe, that if you repeat the lie enough times it becomes a truth, right? Headline from The Hill 13 hours ago: Trump won't let the 22nd Amendment stop him in his ambition for a third term. USA Today: Trump can't run again, but we won't need him. Vance is the GOP's future opinion. The Atlantic: the solution to the third term threat. The Guardian: Trump is toying with a third term. Don't expect the Constitution to stop him. This is literally like, it hurts me. It hurts me how dumb people are. NBC News: Trump says it's pretty clear he can't run for a third term. He knows it. We know it. He knows it. Let's see that one, because that one at least is speaking some sense. I want to see what NBC says, even though they're liberal too. Trump says it's pretty clear he can't run for third term. I'm not allowed to run, Trump told reporters. It's too bad. So that right there, that's in the headline. They're going to put that in the headline, and Trump says it's too bad he can't run for third term. Like, he's trolling you. President Trump said Wednesday, it's pretty clear I'm not allowed to run for a third term, a move that is prohibited by the Constitution, but has been floated by some of his allies and Trump himself. In remarks to reporters on an Air Force One flight to South Korea in the morning, Trump appeared to refer to the Constitution's forbidding presidents from serving more than 2 terms. He said, I have the best numbers for any president in many years, any president, he claimed, and I would say that if you read it, it's pretty clear I'm not allowed to run. It's too bad, but we have a lot of great people. That's a pretty clear cut thing right there. Came right out of his mouth. Trump had previously mused about a third term bid despite the Constitution's 22nd Amendment, which established a 2-term limit. His comments about a 2028 run have alarmed critics, but have been downplayed by congressional Republicans. House Speaker Mike Johnson said Tuesday that he did not see a way to amend the Constitution, pointing to a lengthy timeline and high bar for state and congressional support. So I don't see the path for that, but I can tell you that we are not going to take our foot off the gas pedal. Constitutional amendment would need to be proposed by a 2/3 majority in the House. Blah blah blah. Trump has previously gone so far as to have told NBC News in March that there were methods for seeking another term and that he was not joking. Oh my God. People are stupid. All right, let's see what some of these articles that had and it's the fear mongering. We learned this during COVID. If you didn't already know it, media just fear mongers. I mean, these are articles that I'm pulling up on Google and clicking on, but really, if you talk about legacy media, mainstream media, television, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, if anyone that still watches the news on television, what is television driven by? Ratings. It is still ratings driven, and there are no ratings to be had in news reporters, saying, turning the camera on and saying, yeah, everything's good, the sun is shining, the weather's nice, everything's good, everything's fine. No, they have to scare people. Everything has to be a scare tactic. So all of this about, the Trump won't let the 22nd Amendment stop him. All right, let's see what the Hill has to say, because this is probably going to be at least good for a laugh at the very least. Last week on his way to Asia, President Trump said he would love to run for a third term, but added, what the hell? Get out of here. No, I'm not signing up or giving you money. He added, am I not ruling it out? You'll have to tell me. All I can tell you is that we have a great group of people, which the Democrats don't. That followed a comment made a week earlier by Trump ally Steve Bannon that there is a plan to keep Trump in the Oval Office beyond 2028. And anyone who believes that is an idiot. Some may be tempted to write off such talk as some attempt to own the libs or stoke enthusiasm among the MAGA base. I think that would be a mistake. By raising this possibility, the president and his allies are planting the idea in a way that gives the American people a chance to get used to it, so that if and when it happens, it will not seem so shocking. I just read in the last article, there'd have to be a constitutional amendment, let's see what some of these other ones say. I'm already annoyed by this article. What's the next one? Trump can't run, but we won't need him. Vance, blah, blah, blah. Solution to the third term. Trump's toying with the third term. Don't expect the Constitution to stop him. All right, The Guardian. What do you got? I'm not giving you money either. So I can't. Nope. All right, I might not be able to read the Guardian because I'm not. No, get out of here. Anyone actually sign up for these websites? Like, I could, I can't read that article, I'll look for another one. Like, I'm not going to give you money to read your stupid article. It's great Trump can't get a third term. GOP needs Vance. That's what USA Today says. National Constitution Center, the definition, or lists out the 22nd Amendment. Can Trump serve a third term presidency? 22nd Amendment doesn't say what you think it says. Does not actually prohibit a third term for president. It's really, I don't know. It's really fascinating to me but I mean, I guess it's one of those things where it's on the internet. It's got to be true if it's on the internet. There's another fun one. Like I said, I kind of like just pulling up the Google search before I even really click on anything, and then we'll just sort of browse around. But just all the doom and gloom, all of the fear mongering, all of the headlines, like, because also, there's probably a lot of people out there that all they do is look at the headline and then go about their day, and then they post it all over social media. Oh, see, the headline said Trump is bad. And if anyone can actually come on here and tell me that they think Kamala would have done a better job and give me clear, concise reasons why they think she would have done a better job, and not just, first female president. Oh, it's better than Trump. Oh, it's better than the other guy. Like, give me real clear answers like Kamala would have been a better candidate. I'll have a conversation with you and I'll listen to you, as long as you can do it calmly without name calling or screaming at me or typing in all caps and stuff. But no, like the whole campaign, once they shoehorned her in there and nobody actually voted for her in the primary, that was weird. It basically just came down to, well, it's better than the other guy. Like, that's all. Like, people rarely vote for a candidate anymore. I feel like now people vote more to just vote against the other party or against the other candidate versus actually being like, no, like I'm voting for this person because I like X, Y, and Z of what they say they're going to do. It's just always like, well, it's better than the other guy. What does the Washington Post have to say about SNAP benefits? Trump administration says it is paying out half of November SNAP benefits. Oh, that's actually surprising that it was not a fear-mongering headline. But I'm pretty sure the Washington Post is another one that wants you to like pay to sign up and read. Crickets? Crickets, yeah. Food bank aids 40,000. San Diegans awaiting SNAP benefits. Trump administration plan to partially fund SNAP benefits could take months. Americans dumbfounded by cruelty of Trump officials slashing SNAP benefits. Senate GOP blocks Dem efforts to fund SNAP benefits. Is the Guardian the one that was going to make me pay and the other one I could? Yep, same thing. Damn it. Screw you, Guardian. I'm not going to pay for your article. But let's be real. Let's talk about this for a second. I think anyone who's currently watching this or is going to actually choose to click on this and watch the whole replay knows the main reason, the big reason for the government shutdown is because the Democrats are trying to push through a bunch of bureaucracy bullcrap and free health insurance for illegal aliens and this and that and the other, which of course now we're not going to use that language, illegal alien, because it dehumanizes people and stuff. It's like, well, are they here legally? Yes or no? Well, we prefer the term undocumented. Like, okay, anyone with a brain in their skull is smart enough to know that undocumented also means illegal alien. So it means the same thing, and we're still going to get equally upset about it. And the fact that they are getting free shit from the government, well, the rest of us are working our asses off, still paying taxes and barely scraping by. But no, it's like they're trying to push this bill that like is probably thousands of pages long, all sorts of weird stuff snuck in there, but they free healthcare for illegals and everything. Like my current employer who I work for does not provide me with any sort of medical benefits, no medical, no dental, no vision. And when I go in and try to look for, okay, well, if I just try to get like my own health insurance or something and put in my income before taxes, put in my info before taxes, a couple other things, this, that, and the other, the minimum, the cheapest, the bottom of the barrel plan that would, quite honestly mean that I would probably be better off going to Mexico to get dental work done or anything done. It's like $450 a month for just me by myself in my late 30s, healthy, no pre-existing conditions, no diseases. I'm not on any medications for anything, whatever. And the bottom of the barrel plan that I could buy for myself, not getting it from an employer, $450. But the Democrats want to push this thing through to give free healthcare to illegals. And then they want to blame the Republicans for the government shutdown. And they want to blame the Republicans for Trump pulling the SNAP benefits and the food stamps and all this stuff. It's wild. Yeah, absolutely no. I hope so. I hope people really banded together on this, because from what I read, mostly like anyone sensible and slightly objective, Republican or Democrat, which is rare, that people can be objective and look outside of their bubble and look outside of their echo chamber. I think a lot of what I read, people are like, no, like the redistricting is bad. It's going to erase all of like the farmland and the rural areas, and those people, it's basically going to make it to where like their votes don't even count anymore, which, let's be honest, at this point, unless you live in a major city and unless you're voting Democrat, your vote doesn't really count in California anyways. But, this sort of at least gives us some sort of a guise of like the smaller rural areas of California still kind of matter, even though whatever. But yeah, in about 24 hours, we will find out. Because I know California does this really weird thing where they're really good at like calling an election, whether it's for a new bill, whether it's for a governor, whether it's for a president, whatever. They're really good at calling elections like minutes after the polls close. And yet then some of these other states always have these things where it's taken them like 2 to 3 weeks to finish counting their votes. And it's like, wow, It's really weird that California can just be like, polls closed at 8:01. Here's your results. You can't dispute it or you're an election denier. I'm like, hold on a second. Not that I'm a conspiracy theorist or anything, but I think I ran out of tinfoil. Need to go to the store. So that's that. I think that might be all the political stuff I have. I've got some other like entertainment news junk that's I'm not going to say it's happier news because honestly a lot of it's pretty bad too, but talk a little bit politics, a little bit current events, talk a little bit music, maybe stuff, movies, if it's something that interests me. It's kind of bugged me too. Like I got a brief glance of it. I think last week I talked a little bit about being interested in seeing the Guillermo del Toro version of Frankenstein that's coming out this month. And I was like, last week was praising them about how they were keeping the look of the monster kind of under wraps. Like it wasn't in the trailers, it wasn't in the promotional stuff. They kind of did the same thing with Nosferatu, or it made you want to go see the movie to see what Count Orlok was going to look like. And I thought they were doing the same thing with this Frankenstein. And I'm just looking at news articles trying to find stuff to talk about today. And I glanced at it for a second and then I realized what it was and was like, blah, like swiped off of it. They showed a picture of the monster in the new Frankenstein movie. And it's like, you're so close to releasing the movie and you were doing such a good job of like keeping it secret so that people would want to go see the movie. So what that tells me sometimes when it gets like really, really close to the release date and they start releasing photos and videos of stuff that people were anticipating, it starts to tell me that the studio is actually losing faith in the project. And now they're being like, oh no, look at the thing here, go see the thing. But Del Toro is another one of those directors that does not compromise on his vision. So I still have hopes, even though it's on Netflix and Netflix has lots of problems. Still have hope that it'll be a really good movie. So we shall see. But in, like I said, not happier news, but music news, we finally got a little more information about what happened to late Limp Bizkit bassist Sam Rivers, who unfortunately passed away a couple weeks ago at the age of 48 years old. He was found in the bathroom of his home by a person named Keeley. So Limp Bizkit bassist Sam Rivers sadly died early in October, and the grim details of what happened appear to have emerged. According to a report from TMZ via an incident report from police, Rivers was found in the bathroom of his home by a person named Keeley, who reported that she found Sam in a pool of blood after Rivers had apparently fallen off the toilet. CPR was administered, but unfortunately Rivers did not make it. They say he appeared to have a cut over his eye, a possible result of the fall from the toilet. In the report, the deputy says Sam's face and neck were dark blue, while the rest of his body was flushed, which they note is commonly seen in instances of pulmonary embolism. According to a previous report, authorities in St. Johns County, Florida, responded to a call on October 18th regarding a non-responsive person in cardiac arrest. That call was marked as an attended death call, which according to the American Institute of Crime Scene Integrity is one in which the descendant has been a patient under medical care for serious or life-threatening illness that will likely lead to death in a relatively short period of time. It also seems that Limp Bizkit will continue with their planned live shows as a prompter for the band's November 29th show at the Explanada del Estadio Banorte in Mexico City. Mexico has shared the following statement: "We deeply regret the passing of Sam Rivers, founding bassist of Limp Bizkit, whose talent and legacy marked generations and will continue to resonate in every note of his music." In such a significant moment for the band and its fans, Limp Bizkit has decided to continue with its performance on the 29th as part of its Gringo Pappy Tour 2025. That night, every riff and every scream of the crowd will resonate in honor of the great legacy Sam offered to new metal, because his energy will never cease. See you soon. So this article did not go on to talk about it, but I saw some other ones that did. He had received a liver transplant, I believe, about 10 years ago. Just living the rock and roll lifestyle, touring, heavy drinking, heavy partying, and he got the liver transplant. Says that he followed all the doctor's recommendations, cleaned up, stopped drinking, the whole thing. But whenever you are a transplant patient, there are it's a lifetime of risks moving forward with that. I know someone who had a heart attack, I think more than one heart attack at a fairly young age, early 40s, late 30s, early 40s. Had basically what the doctors referred to as a widowmaker. They basically said you should be dead, and thank God he did not die. Had to get on the transplant list, had to wait for a heart, got a heart transplant, and he's still thriving, he's still kicking. But there are certain risks that come with getting an organ transplant, like a heart, like a liver, especially a heart. That it's like you're almost like living the rest of your life in fear that at any point in time, for whatever reason, whether you catch a cold, get the flu, if your medication is a little bit off or something, that like your body will then try and reject this new organ that did not used to be there. So Sam Rivers, being a recipient of a liver transplant, whatever other complications he had, obviously it was signs of pulmonary embolism. And it's really unfortunate. He was only 48 years old, but I am a little bit relieved that, we still, I guess, haven't really seen like a toxicology report, but I'm just relieved that it didn't come back and be in drugs, because it just seems more often than not, you see these guys that you think, oh, they're older, they've got kids, they've got a family, like they have a reason to live, but they still do the drugs and do the thing and try to live out the rock star lifestyle, and it gets the best of them. Still very sad news about Sam Rivers. Since we're on the music topics, let's go with more sad news. I'm just like delivering all sorts of sad news today. I talked about this a little bit last week. Brian Setzer dealing with I think it was like an autoimmune disorder or something. There were stories about this earlier in the year of him having some kind of complications, being diagnosed with something. And the final irony, I think the same thing happened to Peter Frampton, and through just different types of therapies and different stuff, Peter Frampton was able to at least kind of get out there and do a couple more tours before he really retired and called it a day. But you get these guitarists, you get these guys that it's like their hands are their livelihood, literally their livelihood, and they come down with some sort of strange illness that like the very first thing it affects is their hands. So Brian Setzer shared that sad news earlier in the year, but then it sounded like he was coming out on the other side of it. Got the Stray Cats back together. They released their first new music in over a decade. They planned a tour. Last week I read an article about how they just had to postpone or cancel the first date of the tour. Now they're saying they had to cancel the entire tour. So American rock band The Stray Cats has decided to cancel their U.S. tour due to a member of their band battling an illness. The Stray Cats announced on their Instagram account that their fall cross-country tour has been canceled. Guitarist, singer, and songwriter Brian Setzer shared on the post that he has a serious illness that is keeping him from performing. I'm heartbroken to share, due to serious illness, I am unable to perform and very regrettably have to cancel our Stray Cats tour. I know this affects so many people, and I'm devastated to have to deliver this news, Setzer said in his post. I've been trying everything I can to go on and do these shows, but it is just not possible. I've been looking forward so much to being on stage with my bandmates again and playing for all of our amazing fans, and I'm gutted. The post did not specify the illness Setzer is currently battling, but he revealed back in February that he had been diagnosed with an autoimmune disease that prevented him from playing guitar. So it just, sometimes life just has a way, like you get these guys like Brian Setzer, Peter Frampton, these guys, it's what they do, it's what they love to do, and it's like it robs them of like the one thing, not the one thing that brings them joy, but like the thing that is not only their livelihood but something that brings them great joy. So let's see, this might be a little bit of a shorter show again this week as well, but that's fine. Might get some more rewatch replays. Also, any of you If you ever are catching the replays on Spotify, if you missed the live show, I'm live every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But then obviously the replays are always up on YouTube. But if you don't want to sit here and watch the video the whole time, if you don't have YouTube Premium where you have to like leave your phone unlocked to listen or whatever, it goes up on Spotify under the same name, Creative Blue Collar Guy. And I'll apologize ahead of time. I had this pointed out to me by my friend Devin a couple days ago. And I didn't even think about this, but when I start the stream, I always start it about a minute early. Just put up a graphic that says starting soon, play some lo-fi music in the background because I want to give people a chance to get the notification on their phone, tune into the live stream, be here right when they're like, okay, get it going. I basically just download this live stream and then throw it up on Spotify. And then my good friend Devin was kind enough to be like, hey, man, you need to like edit that out when you put it on Spotify because people that are like tuning in to watch or listen to the replay are going to be like, what the heck? And it's kind of like somebody like Devin who knows me, he's going to just like grin and bear it and just skip ahead and listen. But if you're new to the show and you don't know me and you don't know that I'm just completely full of shit and that I have no idea what I'm talking about, you're going to see that thing for running for like over a minute saying starting soon and be like, screw this guy. And you're going to click off of it. So I'm going to do my best to start trying to edit that out. I'm going to see how long it'll take if I remember to do it at the end of this stream, but I'll try to get rid of all the intro nonsense and stuff for any of you that happen to be watching over on or listening on Spotify, that you don't have to skip through a minute of just lo-fi. Or, hey, if you're listening at work, maybe that first like minute or so of lo-fi calms you down before you guys listen to me complain and rant for 2 hours or however long. But also, if you are listening on Spotify, thank you for listening. But if you do want to catch me live, you want to be part of the chat, you want to come on here and roast me and say all sorts of mean things or say that you agree with me or that you hate my stupid face or, whatever, fun stuff. Keep it fun. I'm, I got a good sense of humor. I can laugh at myself. You can always catch me on my YouTube channel, The Creative Blue Collar Guy, Monday nights at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you can be part of the chat, be part of the conversation live. And then you will be immortalized on the replays and on the Spotify version. So this is a story that I've kind of been following for a while, mostly just because these guys are from San Diego. I would say this guy at this point. There has been a lot of drama around the band As I Lay Dying for about the past 14 years there, just to say the least. There's been a lot of drama around this band. Quick recap, very short, brief recap. That guy right there, Tim Lambesis, frontman and now only remaining member of As I Lay Dying, I believe in 2012 was arrested and eventually sentenced to a prison sentence for conspiracy to hire a hitman to have his then wife murdered. That's frowned upon. You don't want to do that. So it's a long story. Read into it if you want. Tim Lambesis, conspiracy to have his wife murdered, whatever. He's convicted. He did his time. He did his house arrest. He did his whatever. Got remarried. Much to my surprise, reformed the band. The guys came back. Hey, reconciliation. I don't know what kind of conversations they had behind closed doors. Obviously, the guys felt comfortable enough to say, hey, let's give it another chance. Maybe he's rehabilitated. Maybe he's really admitted the wrongdoing of his ways. He served his time in prison, So everybody came back, and it seemed like it was good for a while. But a few years ago, I would say 3-4 years ago, some of those band members started peeling off again. And their statements were kind of vague, but it was a lot of like, I can't compromise my integrity or my character anymore. I can't be a part of this anymore. So then he replaced all those guys with a new lineup of people. And then all of those guys quit like within a few weeks of each other within the past year. So old Timmy ain't looking so good. I should also note that I think he's now been divorced like 2 other times since the wife that he tried to have murdered. It's like, I think like any woman that marries him now is probably going to always be like sleeping with one eye open or always kind of looking over her shoulder. So I'm not even really a huge fan of this band, but the only reason why I really follow this story is because they came up out of San Diego, and I remember seeing them at like a very small church, just like a mile or two away from here, when they used to play with a bunch of other little local bands. But it's just like after a while, you kind of follow the breadcrumbs of nobody wanting to work with this guy, and all their statements are very similar, and it's just like, man, I don't know if he's rehabilitated. I don't know if he's trying to set up conspiracy to murder anyone anymore, but he definitely doesn't sound like a pleasant person to work with. Tim Lambesis says he wasn't serious when he recently stated that As I Lay Dying's past members, quote, almost didn't matter nearly as much as everyone thinks they did. That sounds like a backpedal if I ever heard one, where like he said something stupid and people are like, wow, you're totally like dismissing the contributions of your longtime band members who even gave you a second chance after you did jail time for trying to have your wife murdered. And then you're going to sit here and be, oh, they didn't really matter. Like, wow. As I Lay Dying vocalist Tim Lambesis has recently stirred the pot with some recent commentary regarding his past bandmates. A reply he reportedly made on social media was said to have been highlighted by Lambesis himself on Instagram. That comment seemingly found him downplaying the overall contributions of some key members of As I Lay Dying's past lineup. As there have now been dozens of musicians to cycle through the ranks of As I Lay Dying at this point, the members he indirectly mentioned, including guitarist and vocalist Phil, last name I cannot pronounce for the life of me, guitarist and vocalist Nick Hippa, bassist and vocalist Josh Gilbert, and drummer Jordan Mancino. The roster was in place for As I Lay Dying from roughly 2003 to 2014, breaking up upon Lambesis being sentenced to prison back in 2013 after attempting to have his wife, at the time, murdered by a hitman. Again, frowned upon. The remaining band members mentioned above then went on to form Woven War with Shane Blay of Oh Sleeper fame on vocals. Amazing band. I'm really bummed that they didn't keep going, because it had all like the good heavy guitar riffs of As I Lay Dying, but then it had somebody in the band that could actually really sing and you could understand his lyrics. Woven War was good. They only released 2 albums. The first album was better than the second, but yeah, I was really bummed that, I mean, now that all those guys have left As I Lay Dying again, they could totally get the band back together, and I'd be happy about that. Before bringing that outfit to an end and eventually rejoining As I Lay Dying following Lambesis' parole from prison. The reunion was short-lived, however, with the majority of the roster going on to take issue with Lambesis began exiting around 2020 onward. Sans Phil, the bassist. With their ranks diminished, Lambesis and Phil would go on to rebuild the roster until that next lineup imploded late last year under newfound controversy and increased scrutiny regarding Lambesis and his divisive actions. Lambesis has since once again rebuilt the roster of As I Lay Dying, with all new members having shared their comeback single Echoes earlier this month. In the comment below, Lambesis can be seen responding directly to a fan who stated they missed the old band members, and his response read as follows. There are still a couple Woven War records if you want to hear what they do without me. Otherwise, if you close your eyes and listen to the new song, it's almost like they didn't matter nearly as much as everyone thinks they did. I hope you're able to enjoy the path ahead with us. Oof. Whether or not he truly meant the comment remains up for debate, as the screen cap Lambesis is said to have shared of that reply on his Instagram story featured an added caption of, "Just having fun, I'm not that serious, but I hope people can listen to music with their ears instead of their eyes." Yeah, not a good look. Not a good look, Timmy. Like, already, like, you rebuilt the entire lineup of the band, and then they all exited within a year, like within a matter of weeks, months of each other. Like, all like one quit, a week later another one quit, a couple months later another one quit. Like, the whole band, it just fell apart in a matter of weeks, months. And this is the third time it's fallen apart just since he's gotten out of prison. Like, it's not a good look for you, bro. And you're on like your third or fourth wife or whatever, I don't know. And then I haven't seen him just because I can't stomach this kind of stuff, and I feel like it would just make me even more angry, and it's something that I can't do anything about, so I don't want to be that outraged by something I can't do anything about. But there's allegedly some videos out there of him, like, being abusive towards a dog. I'm guessing it was his dog. I don't know. Abusive towards his dog, at least verbally abusive on the video towards his then wife, which I think was his third wife. So, yeah, not good. Not good. Not good. And our last entertainment story for the day, unless I come up with anything else to talk about, let's see. Brian Setzer, Tim Lambesis, Sam Rivers, Trump, food stamps, Deftones. Yep, I've gone through everything so far. So, come on. There we go. On the heels of the final season of Stranger Things coming out, again, we kind of have some bummer news, but it also kind of doesn't surprise me. Because Hollywood is full of a bunch of hypocrites who will preach all of this Me Too, social justice warrior nonsense. And then usually, eventually, majority of them wind up having some sort of allegations coming out against them. In this case, Millie Bobby Brown, better known as 11 from Stranger Things, has reportedly filed harassment and bullying claim against David Harbour, who plays her adopted father on Stranger Things. Hopper, is his name Hopper? Yeah, can't think of what his first name is, but it's kind of a bummer because, like, if you've watched any of the seasons of Stranger Things, like, their on-screen chemistry was actually, like, really good. Just the whole thing of him basically adopting her, and then I guess at some point in the show he, like, legitimately somehow legally adopts the character, and their chemistry was always really good, I thought. But there's always some ugliness behind the scenes, and it's a bummer, but man, it happens, and apparently it has happened. According to the Daily Mail, the 21-year-old allegedly filed the complaint against Harbour before filming the 5th and final season of Stranger Things that began last year. All is allegedly not well in Hawkins, Indiana, according to the Daily Mail. Millie Bobby Brown reportedly filed a lengthy complaint about David Harbour before they began filming the final season of Stranger Things. A source told the outlet that Brown, who plays psychic test subject 11 on the hit series, filed a harassment and bullying claim against Harbour, who plays 11's adopted father, ex-police officer chief Jim Hopper. Jim Hopper. Before season 5 began shooting in January of last year, there were pages and pages of accusations, the source told the Daily Mail. The investigation went on for months. The outcome of the investigation and the details surrounding the claims are currently unknown. According to the Daily Mail, Brown's allegations against Harbour did not include claims of sexual inappropriety. Impropriety. God, that's a weird word. So basically, like, at least, like, it's not sexual, but there's still, I mean, she's still saying bullying and harassment. Like, this wasn't just like, oh, she made a comment. Like, she filed, like, an official complaint against him. I don't think this article dives into it, but I mean, there's some other stuff. I think Whitney Cummings was talking about it a little bit on an Instagram post about David Harbour recently got divorced, and his ex-wife, I guess, had some choice words about him and everything. So it's sad that it's, like, not surprising that some of this stuff is coming out, because apparently Millie is not the only person filing or lodging any kind of complaints against him. But yeah, so there was no, like, sexual stuff or anything, but said that she reportedly was accompanied by a personal legal representative on set at all times while filming the show's final season. Harbour's Jim Hopper adopts Brown's 11, and their rocky father-daughter relationship is a central theme of the show, which means they share significant screen time. This is not the first time such allegations... Oh, yeah, I think they do talk about it here. Wait, no. Well, let's just read on. It's not the first time such allegations have plagued the Stranger Things set. A Grip claimed in 2018 that 2 members of the Stranger Things team were creating a toxic work environment, with some believing the series creators Matt and Ross Duffer, aka the Duffer Brothers, were responsible. According to CBS News, Netflix conducted an investigation and found no wrongdoing. Outside of Stranger Things drama, Harbor is in the midst of a very public split from singer-songwriter Lily Allen. Allen recently dropped her first album in 7 years, titled West End Girl, inspired by their messy separation. On the album, Allen graphically details alleged intimate aspects of their relationship, including various alleged betrayals committed by Harbor. Per the Daily Mail source, the Stranger Things workplace complaints were completely unrelated to Allen's grievances with Harbor. Lily supported him throughout it all, the Mail's source said. It was a brutal time. 21-year-old Brown recently married actor blah, 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 son of rocker John Bon Jovi. I did not realize that. Interesting. And they adopted a baby girl. Stranger Things final season will be released in 3 parts, with the first 4 episodes dropping Netflix November 26th, and blah, blah, blah. So, Hopper is a bully. Oh, that's going to make that last season kind of hard to watch, I guess, right? Like, I don't know. Well, a little bit of a short one. Some days I've had a lot of things to rant about, and we've gone for about 2 hours, but this one I've kind of run the gamut of my list of grievances. Oh, I could do what day is Festivus? I could do a Festivus stream where we could hopefully get some people on here and we'll all just air our grievances. I think Festivus will be a Tuesday. Yeah, I can do a special Tuesday show next month. We can do like an airing of grievances Festivus show. Anyways, I think that's about all I got for today. Thank you guys all for hanging out and tuning in. If you're watching on the replay, thanks for checking it out. If you are watching on Spotify, consider hopping over onto YouTube, hitting that subscribe button, ringing that bell for notifications. Make sure it is set to all so you'll get notified whenever I go live every Monday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Be a part of the chat, be a part of the live discussion, or catch the replay on YouTube or catch the replay on Spotify. I appreciate you being here either way, no matter what. But until next Monday, that's all I got. So thanks again. Everybody have a fantastic rest of your night, evening, day, wherever you're watching, and have a fantastic week. I'll see you guys next Monday. Cheers.
Be excellent to each other.
This has been Late to the Party News. Make sure to like and share this video for others to see. Subscribe to the channel and set notifications to all so you get notified every time we go live or post a new video. Thanks and good night.